I really like this. This is an amazing story. Remembrance of the Daleks is the one which gave Doctor Who the kick up the backside it needed at the time. The last few years were pretty rough. We had the format of the episodes be changed, a BS hiatus, which led to Ian Levine giving us this earache. Funnily enough though, he hasn't stopped since. A season which was memorable for those questionable monsters, the Sixth Doctor's abrupt end, the Seventh Doctor's abrupt beginning, which was followed by a season which consisted of a Richard Briers masterclass of acting. And the most bizarre cliffhanger, but still not as bad as this gem.
Stop, don't move.
Now we get to this, the season 25 opener, written by series newcomer Ben Aranovich. In this, the Seventh Doctor and his newfound companion, Ace, travel back to 1963 to retrieve the Hand of Omega. What? You mean that this prick shows up again? There, we end up in the familiar setting of Coal Hill School and the junkyard as seen in An Unearthly Child. What a way to mark 25 years of our favourite show by going back to the very setting of where it all started.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Yeah, we did get a brief appearance of the junkyard in Attack of the Cybermen, but in my honest opinion, this story is way better. Before long, we get those dastardly Daleks showing up, looking for the Hand of Omega. I mean, you have the series' original setting featuring series' original monsters.
Again, it's like poetry.
Okay, we get the point. The Doctor has to stop the Daleks, but the fun thing about this particular story is there are two factions of Daleks this time, and they're fighting one another. The Imperials and the Renegades. This begs the question though, who is better?
There's only one way to find out. Fight!
Battles between the two Dalek factions are a big part of what is already an action-packed story. There are explosions, a Daleks getting destroyed by a fucking baseball bat, and even a big, massive spaceship, which, believe it or not, was a life-size prop. What's not to like here? Just a few of the reasons why I believe this story to be the turning point for this era, which brings me to the fundamental reasons as to why I think Remembrance of the Daleks works so well. The storytelling, the characterization, and the love and care which was taken by looking back at the Doctor's greatest hits from the first 25 years. Remember the Yeti? Yeah, they get name-checked here. Remember Spyrodon? That gets name-checked. Remember the Zygon Gambit? You get the idea. The story is laden with continuity references, left, right, centre, diagonally, the most obvious being the use of the main setting. But unlike many other stories which do this all the time, this particular story I don't think really suffers from it. This is cheekily on the nose, but I love it. This is such an accessible story to any newcomer of the McCoy era, unless you really wanted to watch his first 4 stories from season 24, which is no problem by any means. I find this to be the best place to start if I fancy jumping into this era now and again. The Daleks don't feel as run-of-the-mill as they have been in previous entries. This may be the best story since Genesis of the Daleks. Daleks have other purposes than to just arrive and fire lasers at people or fucking nuke their opponents with their OP special weapons unit. It also adds mystery as to what this Hand of Omega does, and we find that out alright. Holy shit. Having subspecies face off against one another is a fresh take, which builds on the ending of Revelation of the Daleks and corroborates with expanded media. Aranovich's idea of having the Daleks show up halfway through the first episode is also very clever, because, let's face it, we all know that the fuckers are going to show up at some point. It's in the title of the fucking story. It's not like in Destiny of the Daleks, where we have to wait nearly half an hour before we see them right at the end of the episode looking shit. Oh look, Daleks. The best thing that Aronovich did to end the first episode with here is to finally show off them climbing those stairs. This is a very strong cliffhanger. Too bad no one was watching at this point, as the show was broadcast opposite bloody Coronation Street. It's such a crying shame that it feels like the longest time had passed since the glory days of the Tom Baker era, and people were just losing interest, because Remembrance was the best story to have come out in ages. Everyone from the guest cast are excellent, whether it be the countermeasures team or the sci-villains. These are all involved in some fantastic subplots which get this story cooking. And spoilers for a story which came out in 1988, it's great to see Terry Malloy coming back once again as Davros, but this time he's playing an emperor as well, and it's one of the best scenes ever. Purposely, I haven't mentioned our main leads. Sophie Aldred is phenomenal as Ace in this. She made an impression before becoming a companion at the end of Dragonfire, but here she really kicks ass. She does all the good things you'd expect a companion to do, like ask the Doctor all the questions. She even mimics Susan in a scene calling back to an unearthly child. Ace is one of my favourite companions, and this story alone is a good showcase of what she can do. With Sylvester McCoy, it's like he's playing a different character. The Doctor you see here is different to what you see in season 24. I think that's because behind the scenes there was so much chaos going on making that season. With this season and season 26, the production team had a lot more to play with. The Doctor is a darker character, and he is always one step ahead of his enemies. He's in full control here, and Sylvester McCoy just nails all the scenes he's in. Whether he's talking to Ace, about to get blown up by a Dalek, or mocking Davros with unlimited rice pudding. This version of the Seventh Doctor is a better realisation of the character compared to the more impish version seen in season 24. It's such a stark contrast. Another of my favourite scenes is when he's talking to the cafe worker about the consequences of decisions.
Every great decision creates ripples, like a huge boulder dropped in a lake.
What a phenomenal line, and what a phenomenal script. Remembrance of the Daleks should be credited for so many things. The little Easter eggs, nailing the Seventh Doctor's characterisation, the use of the Daleks, the Hand of Omega, the incidental music which kicks ass, and most importantly, this is another one of Doctor Who's greatest ever stories. Certainly a contender for the best Sylvester McCoy story. I was hooked from the moment that spaceship appeared in the pre-title sequence. This is a true joy to watch, and one which I implore any newcomer to Classic Who to see. If there's one nitpick I have though, it's that the word foreman is spelt wrong. Is that it then? Well, yeah, pretty much. Everyone makes mistakes. I mean, look at the first ever story, for crying out loud. Ian is trying to make fire for those fucking cavemen without touching the two sticks together.
Magic.
Remembrance of the Daleks, celebrating 25 years of continuity errors.